Do you truly trust God and Jesus with your salvation?
Wow.
And if your answer is yes, then why do so many of us not trust Jesus and God with everything else in our life?
Welcome to the Valor Cast, where fight meets faith and fruit. This is a space for men who want more than just a weekend faith. We're here to sharpen each other, to grow stronger in God's Word, lead with integrity, and build real brotherhood. Each episode, you'll hear honest conversations with men from all walks of life. We'll talk faith, family, work, failure, legacy, whatever it takes to become the kind of men God has called us to be. Because this world needs more than passive belief, it needs men of valor. This is the podcast for building bold disciples one story at a time. This is the Valor Cast.
Welcome back. Week 8 of the Valor Cast, where we've been spending the last 7 weeks, and we're heading into week 8 of Got Your Back by Gary Yeagle. Last week, we had a chance to talk about how to make a disciple and the key elements of being a disciple. And this week in chapter 8 of Got Your Back is really the backbone of everything of the book. And the title is I've Got Your Back. And some of the key things that Gary talks about in that book is what it means, what that truly means, and the sacred commitment of encouraging and walking along with men and truly being there during times when things get messy. It's really the backbone of Christian brotherhood and the key to standing strong in faith. And today we are joined by Pastor Roberto, Bobbit, Jenkins, Cecil, Cadwallader, two men that through the course of my life have had my back. And we have an interesting topic that we'll be diving into, right, Pastor Roberto, about generosity and what that looks like in Christian men's faith.
Yeah, we're talking about chapter 8 in the book, and we just didn't want to miss the chance to really talk with these guys about how they see generosity. And if you have been in New Hope, if you have not been frozen and then woke up in the last week, then you'll know that generosity is becoming a theme here in New Hope. Yeah. And we did not want to miss that really opportunity to really pick their brain on not only the chapter of the books and their view of the chapter of the book, but also in this very, very important and timely topic in the life of our church and the life of, I would say, of Christians in general here in America. So thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Absolutely.
We look forward to it.
Great opportunity for people to really listen to you and listen to what God has poured in you and share a little bit of what you think about this wonderful chapter, this wonderful book. So what do you think of the book? How do you like? What's the taste that the book leaves in your mouth in general?
You know, especially like looking at this chapter, I really like to focus on having that 2 to 3, 4 group to really have your back. Speaking from the male perspective, which is pretty easy to do. You know, I don't think any of us have that 10 to 12 person band of family that you really need to focus it in on just a few folks or a few key men in your life that have your back. And I like the way that chapter really focuses on that. So
yeah, I would agree. Men are notorious for being lone wolves.
Absolutely.
And
I can do it myself.
Yeah, it's. I think if we're all honest, right, we've all done that at points in time in our life, and that's not how we were called to do life. Yeah. And it's hard to do life that way, and having tighter, closer relationships where you know somebody's watching your six.
That's right.
Just makes each day a little bit easier.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Guys, we know you, but there might be people listening out there that don't know you. Other than that Gator, I think anybody who's not a Gator is probably not a good conversation to have because you guys could have 3, 4 here. So, okay. Yeah. So other than being Gator fans and all that, tell us a little bit of where you come from. Tell us a little bit of how you got here anyway.
You want to go first?
Sure. So, name's Cecil Cadwallader. My wife is Peyton. Most people probably know her before they would know me, as she is works here at New Hope and is just incredibly actively engaged in a lot of our outreach and ministry and day-to-day activities. So we've been members of New Hope for about 24 years at this point. I've had the opportunity to serve in a variety of roles at New Hope over the years, and love this church, love our community, and just Bobbit and I've known each other for years,
for a long time. Yep.
Have had the opportunity to do life together, and kind of raise families together, and so just a lot of rich blessings from our time here.
Yep. Bobbit, Jenkins, my wife Lisa, and we have been members of the church since 2004. That's when we moved to the Tampa area. And we got plugged in, grew up Methodist. So it was really easy to plug into the Methodist church. We raised our girls here. Brianna and Kiara were raised through the youth program. They are now off at school and working. So we're empty nesting and kind of in a new chapter of our lives.
You both are.
We both are.
As well as Cecil is too. So we've done that. But look, Cecil and Peyton were here when we got here, and they were one of a number of families that really welcomed us in. I mean, that was probably one of the, we church shopped when we got here, even though we kind of looked Methodist first, but we kind of looked around, and but man, we just got embraced by so many families in the church when we first got here. The Cadwalladers, the Cosmoses, the Tubbs, and we had the fish class at that point in time, and gosh, what a great group of people to help us in our as we transition to Tampa and raise the girls. So, but yeah, Cecil and Peyton have been very close friends of ours through the church, and we've, like I said, raised our kids together. So
now, one interesting thing is you're a boy's dad, and you're a girl's dad.
I'm a girl's dad. That's right.
So any quick advice that comes to your mind to a boy's dad? I'm one of them. Here's another one. Yep. Any quick advice to a boy's dad and any quick advice to a girl's dad? Quick, come on, off the top of your head. Give me the A of the ABC.
You, as a dad, a girl dad, you have got to be calm. You've got to be. You cannot let the emotions of the house pull you into it. You got to back up and say, okay, I'm the calm one here, and I'm not the emotional one here. So.
You think it's any different?
I think it's not the same.
I honestly, I wish I had done a better job of this, but I would say lead with love, right? Because calmness is absolutely needed, but leading with love and is important too, right? I think that's the example that you want to leave behind, and it's not easy because we're human and they're human too. But that would be my 2 cents.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah. So guys, today's topic's around generosity. And I know you guys, for some time, you have extremely busy schedules. Both of you have been, in management positions, financial positions. But what does the term generosity kind of mean to you guys? How does that formulate you two? Generosity.
Yeah, so for me, it's and again, it's a topic that's prevalent right around New Hope right now, and I'll probably echo a lot of that kind of back to what people have heard. But generosity to me is freely giving of yourself across time, talents, and resources to others without an expectation of something in return.
I like what you say, and I'm going to pick it right. Some people think it's just giving stuff, and you said giving yourself. which is different than just giving stuff.
I think it's a great, that's a great way to define it. Yes, no doubt. No, because we have so much at our disposal to give, but I think if you go to anyone, generosity, the first thing you think of is dollar signs. How much money can you give, or how much, how much can you contribute to this cause? And I really think if you step back and you look at it, it's so much more, it's so much deeper than just the dollars, that you do have to think about giving up your whole self. I like the way Cecil put that of giving to yourself.
Giving yourself, yes.
Yeah. I think it's a good connection even with our chapter, I Got Your Back. One of the elements in the true brotherhood is giving of your time, right? And giving of your vulnerability and your emotional energy into that relationship outside of everything you've got going on at work or within your family. So
we all go through different stages of life, but I tell you what, I've always joked that, and this is in my house, you've either got more money than time or more time than money. And
Can you say that again?
You've either got more money than time or you've got more time than money. And I think you go through stages of life when you're in one or the other.
You see both of those.
You see both of those, and sometimes it's like, I've got more money than time and I can give this way, or man, I am tight, but I can give my time. So I think throughout life, and it sways back and forth. It's not just one continuous thing. So, and I think that's how you really have to think about it. So
that's a great point.
That's right. And not only that, I would say that just one of the default places that people's mind goes is a dollar. That's generosity, right. Dollar.
100%.
Stuff. No, it's a lifestyle.
That's right.
So I would say that really resonates a lot with the topic of the book. It's not just, sometimes we think that stuff takes a place. Nothing replaces the power of presence.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not just I give the church what I have, is that I give the church, I give Christ myself. Nothing replaces me. Anything that I have, nothing that I have replaces me.
That's right.
So the power of presence, being there present for your brothers, as in the chapter of the book, being present for the kids, being present for the church. So the power of presence to me is a big deal in generosity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, it's presence is important. Approach is important. Attitude's important. People you come, they'll know if you're real.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right. They'll know if you're real or if you're just taking the action. And there's a difference between taking the action and actually taking the step.
That's right. I think I'm going to connect to that. I think you said being present, and I like that. And you said approach. And I think not only do you need to be present, but approachable. I think you need to be approachable because you can just physically be here, and that's not a problem. But be welcoming and warm welcoming for anybody that they feel comfortable having a conversation, sitting down and not bearing your soul, but maybe so, but having that comfort level. So I think you've not only just be present, but be approachable.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Have you seen that transform into your work environment where your leadership development, or how have you seen generosity, like in the workplace or culture played out, and how has it impacted day to day with your teams or even you?
That's a different story. No, it's not. It shouldn't be. But it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in, right?
That is the world we live in.
That contrast, that tension.
Yeah.
I would actually, I probably have more examples of that resonated with me in terms of what I would not do. Or should not do, or anybody for that matter. And it's important to kind of recognize those. I mean, I thank God that you'll be able to see those types of actions and behaviors, and it just kind of not follow suit, right?
That's right.
and there's, I mean, you think about corporate America and things of that nature, right? I mean, there's certainly generous actions that are taking place daily, right? From corporations across the world. But at the end of the day, right, they're driven by a bottom line.
That's right.
Right. And expectations and profitability. That's not how God
It's a great point.
views the world. Right.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, God wants us to be healthy and profitable and not in need and things of that nature. But the motivation behind the action,
It's not the profit.
is not, and again, an expectation or something that's going to benefit you here and now. That's not the motivation.
I think it's a tough balance in the corporate world when you talk about leadership and you talk about personnel development. You're in management. You're managing a team. I'm currently not managing a team, but I'm supporting a team. But you can definitely tell the leaders who have that servant leader attitude.
That's a good point.
You can tell the leaders who come into a position and it's just a stepping stone for their next role. Yeah. They're looking forward. They're not looking at their team. They're just looking forward.
Launchpad.
It's a launch pad. Yeah. And so, if you relate to generosity, they're not pouring themselves into their people. Yeah. They're pouring themselves into the next role. But the ones who really succeed are the ones who pour themselves into their people and raise them up and just let them get to their natural abilities. And I've seen it over and over. I had back when I was on a team, this was way back before I even moved here. I was in Georgia on a sales team, and we were struggling with the leader. The leader was tough, and it was an older salesman who'd been around for a long time.
Sergeant,
and he was kind of the leader of the and he made a statement, and he said it's tough for the team to win if they don't want the leader to win.
That's a good point.
And
oh wow,
he said if you don't want the coach to win, the team's going to have a hard time winning. So I think as a leadership, corporate world, anywhere, I think you have to have that servant leadership attitude that you pour yourselves into your team.
Talking about got your back, right? That right there.
Yep.
It's hard to have a team to win if you don't want them to, the leader to
That's
win.
right. Wow. You need to have, you want to have the coach to win.
Yeah, I recently lost an incredibly close friend of mine, a coworker, mentor. And we worked together for almost 25 years.
Yep. Wow.
And we were, literally over that time, there wasn't a day that went by that he and I were not in direct conversation.
Sure.
And so he was a leader. He led just like that.
No.
Right. And it was obvious and apparent. And I learned a lot from that. So when I had the opportunity to again, we're working together and I'm running the sales organization, I got to lead like this, right? Pour myself into my team, let them know kind of the expectation, but let them know that they're not on an island, right? And Bill and I got your back, right? If you do this, we're coming alongside you,
right,
and we're going to carry that ball to the end zone. And we were able to do just amazing things in a really small organization, but just a great example of that type of leadership from a strong Christian man, and
you can certainly tell it when you're in the organization. You can tell who has it and who doesn't.
Yeah,
it's no doubt. So
yeah,
so it's a kind of leadership that really is here to stay. Doesn't matter. We can take different paths. We can take different routes in profession, in church, and all that. But they stayed. When I say they stayed is because they were present. They invested in you, and they creating relationship.
Exactly.
Yep. Which at the end of the day is this got your back, this generosity. It's all about the relationships that you can get, that you can cultivate, and how. Yeah, Bill. You still remember Bill? He's not around anymore. Still he's there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Because of the relationship, because he invested, because he was present, because it was all about the relationship. The big win is the relationship.
That's correct. Yeah. It's all about the relationship.
Very much
no
so.
doubt.
Very much so.
Yep.
One of the things that we realize in the church is that people always tend to think, when you think about this accountability, this kind of real iron sharpens iron, like that t-shirt that I see there. I know that people tend to think Bible study or small group.
That's right.
People always tend to think that. Oh, you're trying to you're telling me to belong to another Bible study, another small group,
Right?
Guys, how is it different? What we're talking about than just another Bible study?
It's different because, not that a Bible study or a small group is not intentional, but in a smaller group, it is intentional, right?
There
like if one person misses and you're in a group of 3 or 4, it's not the same.
That's right.
If you're in a Bible study or a small group and, you got 10 or 15 or 20 people in there and one person misses, the dynamics aren't that different.
Doesn't shift it.
Right.
Yeah,
So number one, it's intentional, right? It's purposeful. It's a commitment that you're making. And number two, and men love this word, when you think about it from yourself, right? It's an intimate setting.
That's right.
Right. It is what it is, fellas. Right. It is what it is. And yeah, it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
But if you want to release things, if you want to drive relationships, if you want to have a group of people that are praying for you, loving you, regardless of what's going on in your life, that have your, that's what you have to do. And there's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah. I think it's a different setting, Pastor Roberto, than a Bible study. And, I know these guys and I know myself and I know you, our time's limited, right? And trying to pick up another night to go to a Bible study or something outside of that, like Cecil's saying, it's very intentional. And the conversation is not always on, I know this, they talk about a checkpoint 6 in this, but they're focused questions where you're coming in and you're really talking about your soul. They're deep questions. And it's not something that just is like that and happens. It's through time. It's leaning into one another, sharing. It's releasing a vulnerable something to somebody, and maybe it's an easy, but you realize that they kept that to them, whatever that thing that you may have told them, right? And it's something that happens through time too. And
if I can jump in, even in the days of today of social media, or not social media, of communications, even with our band group, or that there's even with a text group. It's things that you can share in that text group that again, if you're in a 20 to 30 person Bible study, you're not throwing that out there.
Right. Yeah.
But hey, I've really got something that's I need y'all to pray for me today. And you can throw it, and you've got, it's not a verbal connection, but at that point in time,
it's spiritual connection.
You got one helping you through. And I think that's just, you get that tight bond, even through that small media of doing it through a text. I think it happens. So, yeah.
The idea of, I would say, vulnerability, that's one of the barriers that sometimes we have as Christian, even as Christian men, that sometimes is really hard to take down, because we don't want to be vulnerable, because then we feel like people are going to think that we're weak, and people are going to think, oh, what's going on in the back of that? What's going on behind that? What's in the back of stage?
That's right.
Well, that's going on. What brought it? What made it happen? That kind of thing. So I think when you trust is the idea. When you get to hang out with a group of people that you can trust, it's perfectly okay to be vulnerable.
That's right.
And you can really open all the areas in your life to those people. And really, that adds a lot of value. And to me, that's one of the barriers that we need to take down. Vulnerability. Be vulnerable. It's okay.
That's right.
There's no one of those stereotypes that it's out there. We need to really bring it down. Yeah. The barriers, talking about barriers, I think about not only for accountability, but also barriers for generosity. What do you guys think are the big barriers that people have that do not allow them to be generous?
Fear. I mean, probably some of the biggest things of generosity is fear. Mm-hmm. The fear of what if? What if I'm, and I know that sounds odd, but let's go to money. What if I do give this much? I mean, or try to make a tithe or whatever, and I fear I can't do it. Mm. And I think there's fear of time, giving your time up, to something where, that you, I think that's a big piece, mm-hmm. especially of men that, when you look at managing your finances and managing your time and managing and balancing your life, I think there's a big barrier mm-hmm. of that of how much you can give. Yeah.
Fear. Yeah. That's big.
Yeah, I think that's a good one too. The one that just jumps out to me is the word mine. Mm. Mm-hmm. Time is mine. Mm-hmm. My talents are mine, mm-hmm. and my money is mine.
Yeah.
And whether you believe it or not, all of that is false.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. That's an illusion.
Yeah. I mean, we have put our own definition and construct of time. Mm. God's definition of time is something that we will never understand. Right. 100%. So to claim that as mine is irresponsible.
Time is mine.
Right.
Money is mine.
God, God gave us all spiritual gifts, talents, mm-hmm. right?
And they're mine.
And maybe we've done some things to hone those or develop those or grow into those, but they weren't mine to make or I didn't make them. And then resources, money, right? All things come from God. So whose is it? It's not mine.
That's right.
Right. It's a mindset. In my opinion, it's a mindset.
That's good points. So in your spiritual walk though, how have you guarded against the temptations of just looking at to be generous when it's comfortable or it's convenient? How have you guys in your spiritual walk managed that?
It's been mentioned a number of times in church, but giving or generosity is a discipline. Mm. You have to be disciplined to do it, and it's just something that you have to incorporate in all the disciplines of your life. I mean, if you can be disciplined to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and go running, you can be disciplined to manage your money or manage your resources. It's a discipline that you just put in your head, and this is what's going to happen. Now, I'm saying that it sounds like, oh, that's easy. Mm-hmm. No. I mean, it's not easy.
Sure.
Because we all have things, especially throughout life, kids, anything that comes up, and you're like, wow, this is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
But I think if you kind of look at it as a spiritual discipline, mm-hmm. that helps get you through those. So
yeah.
We've been there. I mean, believe me, we've been. I grew up in a church going family. We were very involved in our Methodist church, and my parents gave of their time, talents, and resources. They were, and I knew they tithed, and gave generously. Never knew how much. Dad never talked about finances, mm-hmm. so never really knew. Didn't really care about the dollar figure, but you just knew they did. Now I grew up when in Sunday school you used to take a little money and put in a little basket.
As a kid, yeah, absolutely.
So every day, every Sunday you took a little bit. So it just got ingrained. Lisa did the same thing. Lisa grew up, and her mother was very involved in the church and gave. So it was but I would say it'd be hard for those who didn't grow up that way to understand how you kind of carve out that discipline in your life. And they've got to learn it, and I was fortunate. We were blessed that we kind of had that background, but it would be tough, I would think.
Yeah. The way you said, you saw your dad do it. And people normally think it's like right, you got to be an example for the next generation. And they're watching you. Careful, because they're watching and they're going to learn from what you do and that kind of thing. And sometimes we take that just to the job, to the school, study, discipline. And we don't think that when it comes to spiritual disciplines, they're watching.
Well, it's funny. They're watching everything, right?
Yeah. Everything. That's right.
And so a question that I would pose to the audience is do you truly trust God and Jesus with your salvation?
Wow.
And if your answer is yes, then why do so many of us not trust Jesus and God with everything else in our life?
That's huge.
So why do we not trust God and Jesus for our time, for our talents, and for our resources? I was convicted of that. Peyton and I were convicted of that. Goodness, I don't know. It's probably about 20 years ago. I mean, we went to church. We were, participating, everything else. Maybe it was a little longer than that. But one Sunday, I mean, it was ironic, but it was, I mean, the Holy Spirit, hit us, hard that Sunday. We came home. So, you know what? We got to give, we need to start tithing. Don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to do it. And sometimes you have to just take that leap of faith. And God even, I think that's the one thing that God actually say, you're going to test me on something, test me on this, and Malachi. And guess what? Didn't change our life at all. Right. But it became a continual thing that we have done. And I think back on that, and it's again, like where is our trust? Right. And it's not easy. I wrestled with it. Right. But I'm glad that I let go of the wrestle. And then my other question to people too, as it relates to this and relates to generosity, would be, because I don't think we think about this enough either, is what's the cost of our disobedience? And not to be negative, right? But by not giving our time, what are we impacting in the kingdom? By not utilizing our talents, what are we impacting in the kingdom? By not giving our resources, again, what are we impacting in the kingdom? And we always think as like individuals, such a small scale. We know Jesus fed 5,000.
That's right.
With a few fish and
that's right.
A few. I mean, it's that concept of multiplication is non-deniable, but we try to control that, I think.
Yeah.
So
well, and I think look, that's I can't really even add anything to that because I think that was phenomenal. You did a great job, Cecil.
Thank you.
Good job.
Funny.
But I think one of the things that we get hung up on is how we perceive God measures us.
Wow. Yeah.
Because
that's huge.
Because I mean, I think we think that he's sitting up there going, well, your pile's a lot smaller than their pile. So, this is, of what you're given. And it's not that. He's not measuring the pile. He's measuring the heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's not measuring the pile. He's measuring the heart. It gets me back. I can't name the verse, but the widow's mite.
Widow's mite, yeah.
Yeah. And how much she gave of, and it was her heart. It was the measure of her heart that was what was the deal. It wasn't the measure of how much was given. And I think we get so hung up on the amount, like, what I have doesn't even make a difference, but it really does because it makes a difference to him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great point.
Wow. What a great conversation, guys. I don't know if you realize what's going on here, but in case you're not seeing, this is the coffee couch. And that is the what? The water couch?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the water couch.
Hey, we got to go in the car.
Come on, man. Come on, man. So thank you, guys. Thank you for giving
up your time, your talents,
wisdom,
your treasures. I mean, you guys.
We thank you. I mean, y'all.
This was awesome.
Together.
Yeah,
so
grateful to be a part of it, and thank you guys. So it was fun. It was fun
for being here, and thank you for teaching so many deep and great lessons. I mean, I feel like I've learned a lot.
I've learned a lot.
I mean, I feel like when I hear these guys talking in front of Mike and say, why don't they preach on Sundays? Why don't they preach on Sundays?
Well, you want people to show up, right?
They preach better than me. Come on.
Look, my accent's different than yours, though.
No, yeah, I know that. Pretty much, yeah. Talking about that, right?
What'd he say? What'd he say? See, Bobbit and I understand each other.
I know. Anyway, it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great conversation,
may God continue using you in mighty ways here in New Hope and beyond New Hope. In your personal lives and your professional lives, may God continue enriching you and blessing you. You really embody generosity. We know that. And thank you for being part of our lives. I think I can echo what Scott said. It's a blessing to have you in our lives, in our church. And so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you guys next week when we dive into chapter 9 of Got Your Back. Have a great week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Valor Cast, where fight meets faith and fruit. If this conversation challenged or encouraged you, share it with a brother. You may subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And to find more resources for men of faith, visit findnewhope.com/men.